let it build, my nigga, just let it build, let it build, let it build, now let it build, let it build, now let it build, let it build, my nigga, just let it build, let it build, let it build, now let it build, let it build, now let it build, my nigga, just let it build, 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 PG, let it build, let it build, y'all making this way too complicated, man. Might as well go ahead and let it build, you know what I'm saying? Can't start at the top of the mountain. Gotta climb. Stop faking, man. Not bad. Not good for you. We're gonna let it ride out. Lesson on the beat. Sway. Banger. I'm amped up for this tango. Now you see where that chain go. Chain gang off that mainframe for my main thing like Django. Bout a nigga like Shango. Old school with that can't go. Right hand on my buckle, bitch. Left hand, hang low. Whip part, but it swang though. Do you know what that 6P do? Dust fly up like a fool in the truck and you lanes can't figure how the pain bleed through. Wave on the track like a 6C do. Chip look mean and the drip see through. I'ma get mad on this beat. Till you niggas running for your van at the feet. Talking to your man when you see him in the street. I ain't no less, had to bless. Play so hard you can feel it in your chest. Make it what it do, now your crew wanna ask what's next. I'ma break it down. Time by the boatload with the fofo till you no show. And I'm puffing on that cocoa till I go slow. If you sleep, motherfucker, take no dose. Better keep it low pro. If you wanna fake how the folk go, catch you on the track, run it down on the home stretch. Motherfucker, go it on top like Flojo. Till you know mo. Saying it's a no-go. All real in the game when you find out that you so-so. Move so fast in advance like dudes in the dub and you move it in slow-mo. Oh no. You on life support, let it breathe, cuz pain is long and life is short, just let it be, cuz. And I don't feel for you, you gotta play the game. And if you lose and then you short and it remains the same. Word, let me break it down.
Greetings, fight fans.
DMV, DC, stateside, eastside, what's going on worldwide?
Yo, what's good? This is your boy Lesson. To my left now, in the place to be, the man, Manny Z. This is DMVCS and the Clinch back once again after our hiatus. We are glad to be back here with you on an Independence Day weekend. It is awesome, and it was an awesome weekend of fights, and we've missed a lot.
Oh boy, yes, it was.
We've missed a lot of things over these past few weeks, and we're going to make sure we get you caught up. But first of all, we always want to thank you for spending a little bit of time on your Sunday evening or afternoon, depending on where you are with us, of course. So as always, make sure that you're following us on Twitter at DMVCS, on Twitter, on Instagram, DMVCS, the number 2. Also, you can catch us on Facebook, DMVCS Radio, search that, and on Google Plus and YouTube, DMV Combat Sis. You know how we do every Sunday, 8 p.m. stateside here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., worldwide on ListenVisionLive.com. That's how we do, y'all, of course, man. So it's been a wild weekend, Manny, and there's a lot of things that have happened in mixed martial arts since we left. And, of course, this is a big banner weekend, not just for the UFC, but for a lot of different fighting promotions.
Absolutely.
For the 4th of July weekend. So, we're going to get started. Of course, big pay-per-view last night, UFC 175. We're going to look back and recap all the craziness that happened there in the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas. And, of course, it wasn't the only mixed martial arts card on yesterday. World Series of Fighting 11 happened yesterday. We're going to recap that as well. And, of course, we're going to look at all the MMA news, rumors, event recaps, and everything else. And, of course, as we suspected, we had a retirement, then an unretirement, and now retirement, troubled by what the retirement was originally about.
I'm still confused. Was it the ambiguous ending?
And then, of course, as we all know, if you've seen the movie Friday, you know Craig. Well, what happened to Craig? He got fired on his day off, and that's what happened to Bjorn Rebney, formerly of Bellator MMA. And we're going to get into that story. Big shakeup. Yeah, we're going to big shakeup in Bellator MMA. But, of course, you know how we start each and every week. And make sure you're hitting us up on Twitter, #ITC. Tell us what you thought, particularly on the main card bouts. And even what Uriah Faber and Alex Caceres last night. We'd love to hear what you got to say. But, of course, news each week. And, of course, following the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion Ronda Rousey's 16-second destruction of challenger Alexis Davis at UFC 175 on Saturday.
I blinked and it was over. I had to rewind my DVR several times.
Yeah, Dana White then fielded questions about potential next challengers. And, of course, you can't bring up that topic without turning to Christian Cyborg Justino, the reigning Victor FC champion and former Strikeforce title holder who terrorized the women's featherweight division. This is what Dana had to say, and he was quite blunt about it. I just don't want to hear your bullshit if I do sign her, because this shit is going to flip as soon as I do sign her about drug testing and all the bullshit. It'll be the biggest fucking topic. It'll be the biggest fucking story for you to write. Oh, my effing God. The script will flip immediately. Justino, of course, we know, was stripped of her Strikeforce title in December 2011 after testing positive for a synthetic anabolic steroid. Since returning from her suspension, she's knocked out Fiona Muxlow, Marlos Conayan, and Invicta FC fights, and is also dabbling in Muay Thai and the Lion Fight promotion, and as well as kickboxing. However, that failed test apparently wasn't enough to persuade the UFC officials to keep Cyborg out of the UFC when the organization launched its first women's division in early 2013. According to Dana, the UFC, when they purchased and ultimately disbanded Strikeforce, they offered Cyborg a Rousey-like deal, and they turned it down. He said, listen, there are certain things to do when you get out there. If you really want to fight for the UFC and want to fight for the title, there are ways to get it done. There are ways to do it. It's not like we never offered Cyborg a deal. We offered Cyborg a deal, and they turned it down. She got the same deal that Ronda was offered, and she turned it down. She was on a medical suspension, too, for performance-enhancing drugs.
Well, we know why that was.
Yeah, of course.
Her management team headed by one Jacob Christopher Ortiz.
Yeah, and then Dana goes on to say, you sit and listen to Rousey talk and all the shit that she says and the things she's willing to do, and she's willing to fight back-to-back and all of this. Dana said her and Cyborg aren't on the same level mentally as athletes or any other thing. He said, I know it sounds fun, but I don't want to go out and say a bunch of mean shit about Cyborg. But you guys know, I don't have to preach to you guys. You guys are smart people. So the drama continues, and after another Rousey destruction of an opponent, the talk's only going to grow even more that we see this Cyborg and Ronda matchup in the future, Manny.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's just still hearsay because, again, if you're not a Ronda Rousey fan and you didn't see her fight last night, rewind, go on YouTube, because I told Lester before the show, before we went on the air.
Exactly.
I had to rewind my DVR twice, America, and the world, to see exactly what happened.
And you see the images, literally, if the lights would have went out at the arena at the exact same time that the bell rung, it would have taken you longer for your eyes to adjust to the darkness than it would have before the fight would have been over. By the time it would have adjusted, you would have seen the referee telling Alexis Davis, the fight is over, the fight is over, it's over. And that's she was spectacular last night. But we just talked about this. Let's see what happened when Ronda actually faces somebody that's bigger than her.
Yeah, that's true. But again, she's slowly becoming like the female version of Chris Weidman. You want my belt? Come take it.
Yeah, you're right. So good performance by her last night. Of course, a big story about coming out of the UFC 171 pay-per-view last night was going to be what we thought was going to be the return of Stefan Struve, the heavyweight from Sweden. And that fight was scratched from the card, being as though that and despite the fact that it was scratched and Struve had passed out in the locker room prior to the fight, him and Matt Mitrione, his opponent that night for the UFC 175 heavyweight bout, will both get their show money. Dana White confirmed this news following the Saturday post-fight news conference for the event. They were set to meet in the heavyweight bout in the middle of the main card, but not too long before their bout, Struve suffered what was turned to be a near fainting episode backstage. Right. After he was monitored by doctors, even though his condition returned to acceptable levels, the fight was scrapped for precautionary reasons. He was attempting to fight for the first time since a March 2013 knockout loss to Mark Hunt in Japan, and that fight his jaw was broken. But it was a heart ailment that surfaced not too long after that has kept him on the sidelines. In April, he said the medication he was taking was working, and soon after, he was cleared to be booked for the fight with Mitrione. But now his return is on hold with an uncertain timetable when he can come back. Now Struve was scheduled to make $40,000 in show money, an additional $40,000 in win bonus money, bringing his total payday to $80,000. Mitrione was scheduled to make $30,000, and then giving him a $60,000 check for the canceled fight. So they got a payday, but Stefan Struve now dealing with the heart issue. And this is a guy who's been out for longer than a year now, but this could be something that could end his career.
Yeah, it possibly could, because it's the same thing that Dan Hardy, the Outlaw, was going through. And it's like, again, this is all he's known ever since, he basically grew up in the sport.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to feel bad for a guy that, again, all he wants to do is fight. That's it.
Yeah, and it's we hope the skyscraper gets well, and hopefully he is able to fight again, but not at the risk of his life.
No, absolutely.
So big money from UFC 175. Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas was the venue for this pay-per-view, and just as we were expecting it to be a blockbuster. Oh, they raked in the bucks.
Yes,
about
they did.
$4.4 million worth of bucks we were talking about last night. They announced attendance was 10,088 and a live gate of 4.4 million. Dana announced the figures at the night's post-events news conference. And, of course, the Athletic Commission will verify the figures, expected to release a tally next week. But while the number of comp or free tickets were not revealed, the figures represented an average revenue, get this, Manny, of $436.16 per ticket issued. So we're talking about big bucks if you were going to the biggest pay-per-view of the year last night for the UFC.
Oh, no question about it. And again, we're still not even counting the pay-per-view buy rates, which people like me, $62.87 on HD. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happened with that. Of course, man, you're listening to DMVCS and the Clinch. Your boy Lesson, Manny Z, in the place to be here with you every Sunday night like we are, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at DMVCS and send us a message concerning your thoughts on UFC 175 last night, #ITC. So, two extremely disappointing heavyweights we're about to talk about now, Manny. It seems like we will have a meeting, or it's a report now that Andre Arlovski and Antonio Bigfoot Silva will now face each other at UFC Fight Night 51 in Brazil. Now, according to the Brazilian news outlet Globo, Silva will meet Arlovski in his home city of Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil, at UFC Fight Night 51, which is set for September 13th at the Nelson Gymnasium in Brasilia, the historic Nelson Gymnasium in Brasilia. It is not yet known if Silva or Arlovski will be the event's headliner, but a high placement on the card is most likely a certainty. The event is going to air on Fox Sport 1, stream on UFC Fight Pass, and will likely act as a lead-in for the season 20 premiere of The Ultimate Fighter. Silva and Arlovski first fought each other, as you know, Manny, at a Strikeforce event in May 2010. A fight that Silva won by unanimous decision.
Yeah, he did.
Now part of Arlovski's 4-fight losing skid between 2009 and 2011. Silva most recently fought this past December in a Fight of the Year candidate against Mark Hunt in UFC Fight Night 33 in Australia. The fight ended in a majority draw, but was overturned to a no contest when, surprise, Silva tested positive for elevated levels of testosterone and was suspended for the UFC for 9 months. Surprise.
Surprise.
That suspension will only be a few days in the rearview mirror when the UFC Fight Night 51 takes place. A little more than a year ago in a 2-fight winning streak, Silva challenged heavyweight champ Cain Velasquez for the title, but lost by a first-round TKO.
Destruction.
Of course, Arlovski returns to the UFC for the first time in more than 6 years.
Yawn.
And took a controversial split decision that was a yawn from Brendan.
Yeah, it was no controversy there. I mean, it's like he just didn't want to be there.
Well, you really couldn't, pick somebody, because I guess somebody had to win, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, again, that fight was just one of those fights like, I'm going to go take a leak. This fight sucks.
Right, but he's gives him 3 wins in a row, 5 of his past 6. After leaving the UFC in 2008, he fought for Affliction, Elite XC, Strikeforce, Pro Elite, 1FC, and WSOF, among others, eventually earning his way back to the promotion. But this is not a fight that I think that I'll pay close attention to. Like you said, that'll probably be my bathroom or drink break.
Yeah, I really am. I'm probably going to pour me some rock and just be like, oh, they're still fighting? Okay, cheers.
There we go. Exactly. So, we also have addition to UFC Fight Night 47, Manny. It's going to be their first trip to Maine, as we know.
Yes.
Next month has an addition in the bantamweight division. It will be Sarah McMahon, who lost to Ronda Rousey in her last fight. It's set to take on promotional newcomer Lauren Murphy, who was undefeated in mixed martial arts at UFC Fight Night 47. It's going to take place August 16th at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor, Maine. The bulk of the card is expected to air on Fox Sports 1. Now, McMahon in February did challenge Rousey for her belt, but was stopped in just 66 seconds with meaning Rousey's first career stoppage by knockout. And that was the Olympian's first career loss at a starting 7-0, including a TKO over Sheila Gaff at UFC 159. Murphy will make her UFC debut on the strength of an 8-0 start in her pro career. After back-to-back decision wins over Caitlin Young and Sarah DiLillo at Invicta FC 5 and Invicta FC 6, she picked up a TKO win over Miriam Nakamoto at December at Invicta FC 7 to win the promotion's inaugural bantamweight title, but she won't get a chance to defend it. Instead, she's moving to the UFC. Now, here's the rest of the card for UFC Fight Night 47, guys. Ryan Bader versus OSP, Ovince St. Preux.
Nice.
Tim Bosch versus Brad Tavares. Sean Jordan versus Jack May. Sam Alvey versus Tom Watson. Robbie Peralta versus Thiago Tavares. And, of course, McMahon and Murphy. So, this will be a pretty good fight night. I'm really looking forward to that Bader and OSP fight.
Yeah, because OSP, like, if you haven't seen or heard of this guy, watch the tapes.
Yeah, 2 highlight finishes in his last 2 fights. So,
yeah, and Sarah McMahon, once again, got to give a shout out to Sarah McMahon, local girl from Tacoma Park. She's representing in the UFC, so I'm rooting for her.
Indeed, we give love to those from the DMV. And this is DMVCS in the Clinch. It's Lesson, your boy Manny Z, and the place to be. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your Independence Day weekend. We know you're just letting your grills finally cool down, and you're just settling down right now with a nice cool drink before you go and settle down for the evening. So thanks again. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at DMVCS, Instagram at DMVCS2, and Facebook DMVCS Radio. You can see all the content we put up throughout the week, and you can also see all the links that we put up and pictures, and make sure you follow us. We got a lot of content that comes throughout the week at all times. Now, we were looking toward to another rematch in the featherweight division in the UFC between the champion Jose Aldo and Chad Mendes, Manny, but it's not going to happen now because the champ has now sustained an injury. Jose suffered an injury that will keep him from fighting on next month's pay-per-view. It was first reported by Ariel Helwani on UFC Tonight. UFC 176 is set for August 2nd at Los Angeles' Staples Center, and the main card aims on pay-per-view. Prelims on Fox Sports 1 and UFC Fight Pass. The nature of his injury was not immediately known, nor was the duration of the time that he'll be on the shelf. He's, of course, the number 1 ranked writer on the USA Today Sports featherweight rankings, and he's number 2 pound for pound. He knocked out Mendes the first time they fought in UFC 142 in January 2000.
The infamous, don't grab the cage, knee in the face.
Aldo defended his title versus a first-round knockout from a knee strike, though the champ benefited from a cage grab just prior to the fight ending blow. Now, Mendes has wanted a rematch ever since then. 29-year-old team alpha male fighter has won 5 straight fights, 4 by knockout, since his loss to Jose, defeating the like of Darren Elkins and Clay Guida. Most recently, he scored a decision victory over scrappy Nick Lentz at the UFC Fox on Fox 9 in December. That was a good fight.
Yes, it was.
And Aldo, meanwhile, has won 17 straight fights. Most of it comes during his UFC and WEC tenure, racking up 8 consecutive title defenses, 6 of them which have officially come in the UFC. Most recently, the 27-year-old Nova Uneo fighter scored a unanimous decision victory over Ricardo Lamas in February. So now we're going to have to wait for Aldo Mendes too, Manny. And a lot of people were kind of looking forward to that,
Well, everybody's looking forward to that.
Yeah, and so we'll see how long this is on he's going to be on the shelf, and whether or not Chad steps in to fight somebody else within a month or couple of months or so.
Well, you're talking about pound for pound, probably one of the best fighters of his generation in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Again, it's like the last fight that Jose lost is to a guy that doesn't even fight in MMA anymore. So again, if it's not the end of this year, probably early next year, but they will have this title fight.
Yeah, so now the UFC is probably going to find a new headliner bout for that 176 main event. So we'll see what happens with that card over the next couple of weeks. Now, we have some additions to UFC Fight Night 49. It has added a couple of bouts, one that I'm particularly intrigued by. They're adding 2 bouts on the card with Damian Maia taking on Mike Pyle in a welterweight bout. And there'll also be Talis Lietes facing Francis Carbone. It was announced earlier this week by the UFC. It will take place August 23rd at the BOK Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's no order for the card yet, but it's starting to fill in. Damian Maia fights for the 20th time under the UFC banner. He's a BJJ specialist, reached the top of the promotion's middleweight division in 2010.
I suppose.
When he suffered a decision loss to Anderson Silva in a failed bid for the 185.
That was just an exhibition. Anytime the guy's screaming at you, calling you mama's boy in Portuguese, and kicks your leg out from under you and says, get up. Yeah.
And in 2012, he dropped to 170, picked up 3 big wins before suffering to a 2-fight losing streak. Most recently, snapped that skid in May in a victory over promotional newcomer Alexander Yakovlev. Meanwhile, Pyle fights for the first time since February in a very impressive win over TJ Wahlberger.
Yeah, it
He's
was.
38 years old, veteran, a grizzly veteran in the game of UFC, Strikeforce, Affliction, Elite XC, IFL, among others. He's enjoying one of the best stretches over his now 15-year career. He's won 5 out of his last 6 fights, with the lone loss in that stretch coming to top contender Matt Brown. Now, Lietes is now a honorable mention in the rankings now for the middleweight divisions rankings. He's a one-time UFC title challenger who dropped from the promotion. Now is back. Has a 6-fight win streak, including wins over Trevor Smith and Ed Herman, and also Tom Watson. Meanwhile, Carmont is ranked number 13 in the middleweight rankings. He's a training partner of former UFC welterweight champion GSP, George St. Pierre, and boasted an imposing winning streak until dealing with recent losses to CB Dalloway and Ronaldo Jacare Souza. This is what UFC Fight Night 49 looks like now. Rafael Dos Anjos versus Benson Henderson.
Smooth.
Damian Maia versus Mike Powell. Francis Carmon versus Thais Lietes. Timothy Elliott versus Wilson Reyes. Thiago Alves versus Jordan Mine. And then also Merced Bektik versus Ernest Chavez. So that is taking place August 23rd. Underneath the UFC banner, that will be UFC Fight Night 49.
Yeah, but I gotta disagree. I just, Pyle, I love to see him scrap. But Damian Maia, after what Rory McDonald did to him.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see an old guy like that face a guy like Damian Maia. So.
Yeah, but we already know his striking is shit. So, I have to be the first one to say that Damian Maia is just, you expect him to stand and bang. No. Grappling, maybe. But again, Rory showed him, no, this is what, the new age of the UFC looks like.
Yeah, that's it. And that's our news for this week, boys and girls. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're recapping UFC 175, Weidman versus Machida. We're going to break it all down for you. Right next on In the Clinch, make sure you're following us on Twitter at DMVCS ITC, and make sure you, at DMVCS, and then hashtag ITC with your thoughts on UFC 175 last night. It's DMVCS In the Clinch, your boy Les and Manny Z. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Fly life. What's up, man? Yeah. Now when you talking about that fly life, this is what I picture. Sunshine, cruise by, Henny in the mixture. Thinking of the choices spurred on by the elixir. Rookies call me master, honeys call me mister. Riding out on sunset, pocket full of gold. Hands fumble with the perk roll, take a summer stroll. Heading out to Santa Cruz, cooling to Sublime. In the summertime, everything's fine if you don't mind. Go. Young is out in Cali, they rally, show me in death love. Hook up with the homie, not phony when we get revved up. Mommy rolling shoddy, she told me just what her friends love. Hit the homie deal, he got money, yeah man, he fresh cut. California loving the county boys when we get right. Peep the shorties jogging, they working to get that thing tight. Let me get a Red Bull and hope it gives me wings. It's about to be a long night, let's see what it brings. This is the fly life, every single day. Got a swagger in my step like I just got paid. Hey, we just ride on by, 100 blast on the dash, we just slide on by. This is the fly life, every single day. Got a swagger in my step like I just got paid. Hey, we just ride on by, 100 blast on the dash, we just slide on by. Heading out on I-10, staying fly, friend. Houston is the next stop, ghetto boys riding. Rolling by Reliant, that's the home of the Texans. Thinking of these thick chicks, I'm eyeing, they be sexing. Crewed up and they showing my crew love. UGK out the subs and they slow it and screwed up. Chillin' and chop it up on the road to the A. I-20 to 85, it's a brand new day. Lounging on P Street in the AUC. What up to my refugees from the DMV? What up? Hitting the Waffle House at 2:45. Done Woody the Doraville, then Decatur for trees. Green. Couldn't leave before we head down to the swap. Forsyth to Magic City with tip money to drop. Rain. Dirty South but it's clean from the slab to the lane. Chuck deuces to put it down, another day in the dream. Yeah, this is the fly life every single day. Got a swagger in my step like I just got paid. Hey, we just ride on by, 100 blast on the dash, we just slide on by. This is the fly life every single day. Got a swagger in my step like I just got paid. Hey, we just ride on by, 100 blast on the dash, we just slide on by. Flying out from Moco, down to SoFlo, Juve with the massive, Heineken and SoCo. I got my flag with me here, red, green, and gold. Wave your rag when you see us coming down the road. Behind the truck, out the corner of my eye.
We are back here on DMVCS In the Clinch.
Clinch.
On WLVS Radio, live every Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on listenvisionlive.com. It's your boy Lesson next to me in a place to be. It's the man, Manny Z.
And we are live.
Each and every, well, most of Sundays we're here. If not, you'll get a very good replay of what we got coming up. Of course, before we go any further, I always like to throw some love to the people operating the spaceship for us. So that's our man Mike. Of course, shout out to Mike once again for piloting the spaceship. Make sure we stay on schedule as we move along on this Sunday evening. So, UFC 175 last night. Did you see it? Did you read about it? Did you see any videos about it?
It took over my Twitter and my Instagram feed.
So it was great last night. And we all, if you've been watching anything with the UFC over the last few years, you know that the weekend that falls closest to or on Independence Day, the 4th of July, is a very big card. And this card about a month ago looked massive. And then there were some replacements that happened, by certain circumstances. But it was still a pretty big card.
Very.
And we saw in the main event last night on the middleweight championship bout between the champ, Chris Weidman, and former light heavyweight champion of the world, now fighting at middleweight, Lyoto the Dragon Machida.
And your favorite fighter.
And how big a fight it was. It was almost exactly a year ago that Weidman first did the impossible and stopped Anderson Silva.
The unthinkable, the incomparable.
Yeah, when he stopped Anderson Silva.
Cold.
And took the belt there. And now he's facing somebody else, another Black House fighter, Lyoto Machida, last night. And the champ remained the champ last night.
And dominating fashion.
Yeah, in dominating fashion. You'll see we'll be bringing out pictures about what happened last night. And Weidman last night defeating Machida by unanimous decision, 49-45, 48-47, and 49-46. Really, as always, as we expected him to be the aggressor last night. He started out the first couple of rounds really going after Lyoto. And Lyoto, as they were saying last night, spent most of the first 2.5 rounds with his back to the cage most of the time.
No, I think he spent all first 3 rounds with his
back to the cage.
Because Weidman came out with just kicks and punches and just kept leaning on him.
Yeah, exactly. And Weidman last night closing the distance. Lyoto's a guy that's very hard to chase around, and he's someone that you want to be able to, to watch out for his striking, because he can give you a head kick or a good blow and you can be out.
Yeah, he loves the counter punches. We saw when he got choked out by John Jones, of course. Yeah. He's not very good against wrestlers.
Yeah, and that's what Weidman did last night. A few takedowns last night. Lyoto did a pretty good job of stuffing some of those takedowns, but Weidman really took the fight to the ground at that point, controlled it, and then a lot of some good ground and pound, some submission attempts, and then when the fight got back to the feet, he pounded out some more good combinations, throwing in a couple of the occasional leg kick, but looking to throw that left hand along with that right. He was going back to his corner was like, what's he got? He got anything for you? Didn't think so.
No, that's not what Ray Longo said. Ray Longo said, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah. You give me good 5 fucking minutes, I want you to fucking finish this guy.
Well, that was at the end of the 4th round. And it was in the 4th round that Lyoto made his most headway. And he's actually started going forward and then using those kicks, which were with their lethal kicks of his, but finally started to engage Weidman. A couple of times looked like he hit him with some pretty solid shots.
But again, Chris just kept walking through him.
Yeah, but he was hitting him with it, and he did win the 4th round at least. And then the 5th round he came out, and that's when he was telling him, listen, I need your best 5 fucking minutes right now.
I need your best 5 fucking minutes, Chris. Give me something beautiful.
He's going to come out, he's going to do something ballsy. And then when things got tough and going in the 5th round, you thought that his momentum was starting to change, and Lyoto knew he had to go for a finish. He took him down.
Yep, couldn't get it.
He took him down in a minute on the ground late in the fight, and that pretty much just wrapped it up. But Weidman, man, once again, he's still the champ.
He's the guy.
As he said, he wants to be champ for a long time.
I see it.
Just your analysis last night of the fight of him between him and Lyoto.
Yeah, I mean, because, again, he beat probably the greatest that ever put on the gloves, bar none.
Yeah.
And you beat a fighter who's also another former world champion, another Black House fighter that trained with Anderson.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what else does this guy have to prove? It's like, I'm here, and if you want my belt, come take it.
Yeah. Now, just to answer that a little bit, if I could, this is only a second title defense. And he's gonna need to fight more people, and we're gonna see that. But for him to really make his mark as far as one of the what he wants to be one of the greatest champions, who took down one of the greatest champions of all time in all of mixed martial arts, is that he's gonna have to continue to knock guys down like this, and he's gonna have to do it against A-lister guys like Lyoto and the legends and guys who can pose a threat.
I agree.
Even though physically they may not necessarily be a threat as now. But up here, MMA, mixed martial arts, a lot of it is up here.
It's always mental.
Strike. So So Chris Weidman, impressive last night, and I loved how as the fight got going last night, and Lyoto started to press, and those kicks started to come, and his back was up against the cage. He went and used the takedown and controlled the fight for a minute plus, giving Lyoto no time to be able to mount any offense in the rest of that 5th round. So, but great. Now, the co-main event was the women's bantamweight title race, and featuring Rowdy Ronda Rousey and Alexis Davis, who received a lot of pub because she trained with Team Alpha Male team member, the bantamweight championship of the world, TJ Dillashaw, Uriah Faber. She had been somebody who had a very impressive record coming in. And we expected this to happen. As a matter of fact, we talked about this last week. How we said, we wouldn't be surprised if Ronda lost this match. We said that.
Yeah, we did.
We did, and we didn't. What I said to Manny was this: I don't expect her to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ronda lost. I wouldn't be. I'm expecting Ronda to win, but I wouldn't have been surprised.
Oh, any given night, anybody.
And you know what? I was surprised. I was surprised how quickly this fight started. They came out to fight. Alexis threw a couple of punches. Then it was a hard right hand. In this order, this is how it happened. Hard right hand.
Clinch. Knee in the gut. Judo
hip
throw.
Toss. Judo throw down to the ground. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, the fight's over. And in 16 seconds, this bout was over. It was done and over with.
I picked up my Mountain Dew. It was done.
Yeah, and literally, like I said, if the lights would have went out at the beginning of this match, as soon as the horn sounded, you would have only seen what happened with Alexis Davis after the fight was over with. The referee, Big John, telling her the fight's over. It's over.
Yeah, Eve Levine had to grab her because she was still holding on to Ronda.
And then she tried to tussle with the referee because she didn't know what was going on.
They had to sit her on the stool in the middle of the octagon. Yes, she didn't know where she was at.
So Ronda does it again. Spectacularly again does it. Literally in the sequence of 4 moves ends the fight. And another challenger steps up to Ronda Rousey and another W. And another one in impressive fashion. Mm-hmm. Man, this is why we're talking about we want Cyborg here, folks, because we want to see what happens in a Cyborg and Ronda fight. But you know what? Alexis Davis looked relaxed coming to the octagon last night. But as Ronda walked up, she's all business. And
all business.
And one thing I do have to agree with Dana when he talks about Ronda, Manny, is that mentally she's on a whole nother level than everybody else. That chick means business when she goes in the octagon.
Yeah, she's not there to be your friend.
She's not there to be your friend. She is there to whoop your behind. Something serious. And she's done it. Now to Alexis Davis. After that, Sarah McMahon. Before that,
Misha Tate.
I mean, goodness. Liz
Carmouche.
I mean, you run down the list of them. She's knocking them down until she gets them. So this was impressive last night. 16 seconds. I mean, that's the time that took to come off of the clock before this fight was done and over with.
That's faster than the Xbox One can load up.
I would almost even say, I don't know if I don't know whether or not this was the fastest knockout in women's fight history in mixed martial arts.
It has to be.
But wow.
It has to be.
She beat Sarah McMahon in just 39 seconds. And in this fight, she beats Alexis Davis in 16 seconds.
And she was out the moment the judo throw happened.
Oh, man. So it's just, Ronda.
Her arms were out.
Ronda, what can you say? And that's just what happens, Also on the card last night, Uriah Hall with a broken toe, Manny. If you saw the look of it after the fight, and if you saw the X-ray that came up on MMAJunkie.com earlier this morning, it was gruesome. He broke that in the first round and still walked away with a unanimous decision victory.
Still went out there and banged.
Over Thiago Moreto Santos, 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27. But he went and banged out using those kicks. He was kicking with that foot with the broken toe.
Yes.
I mean, this guy is hardcore. And he went out last night and put on a performance with a broken toe. A lot of guys, hell, we saw John Jones.
Look at those kicks. I mean, he looks like something out of Street Fighter.
And we saw John Jones and him break his toe against Chael Sonnen, but finishing that fight quickly enough so that didn't become a factor. This guy had almost as bad as a toe break here, but he still had the victory. Uriah Hall, of course, famously known for probably the most famous knockout in the Ultimate Fighter history.
Oh, that spinning back head kick. Wow.
Yeah. This kid has potential, and he has the talent, and I'd love to see a lot more of him coming up in the middleweight division. He made some waves last night, competing with a broken toe. Considering that you're a mixed martial artist and you start the fight on your feet, having to walk, mobilize, and everything else, just really impressive by.
And still kicking with that same broken toe.
Exactly.
Repeatedly. Again and again.
Now, another bout, of course, that we had on the card was Russell Doane defeating Marcus Brimage in the bantamweight division. a unanimous decision. A very entertaining fight, though, with Brimage making some very good leg kicks. Doan counteracting those leg kicks by going in for takedowns. That's really why I think he won the fight, especially in the third round, because Brimage, at the end of the first round and in the second round, really hurt him with those leg kicks, knocked him down more than a few times with those leg kicks. You can see it was starting to affect Doan, but Doan going to the takedowns and on the ground had very good back control on his back, very good in the clinch, very good on the ground, grappling against the cage. Really taking a guy, Marcus Brimage, who moved down from 145 to 135 last night. It was a very entertaining fight. For my money, had Weidman-Machida not went the way it did, that would have been my fight of the night. And then, of course, on the prelim card, wrapping up this UFC 175 breakdown, was the California Kid, Uriah Faber, taking out Alex Caceres' Bruce Leroy with the rear naked choke submission.
Again, just the workings of Team Alpha Male.
A rear naked choke, a submission by Team.
His right arm, so he had to tap with the other one. So he couldn't get out.
And Uriah, a great tap out of Caceres last night. Kind of a very entertaining fight, but Uriah just the takedowns. Caceres did a pretty
wrestling told the story.
Caceres a couple of times stuffed some takedown attempts, but that was the difference.
Yeah,
and getting that submission. Now Uriah is going to want a shot at his buddy in a little while. I'm thinking now Renan Barao is going to get a shot at TJ coming up soon. But you got to think
he don't want no more of that.
But Uriah is going to want a shot at his buddy should TJ
defend
his title.
We discuss this all the time.
Yeah,
everything is all great. Everybody is friends until the goal becomes a factor.
Exactly, and that's the story. Bonuses from last night: Chris Weidman and Lyoto Machida, $50K each for fight of the night. Ronda Rousey, $50K for her performance of the night with her knockout of Alexis Davis, and Rob Font in the prelim card defeating newcomer or the newcomer defeating George Roop.
I became
in his
a fan.
USA debut with a KO with a single punch.
Yes,
which knocked him cold, and he gets $50K for his debut. Well done, Rob,
shout out to Rob Font.
So that's UFC 175. Make sure you tell us your thoughts. Tweet us at DMVCS, hashtag ITC. Let us know your thoughts. We'll maybe read them on the air. We're going to take another break. We're going to talk briefly about World Series of Fighting number 11. Justin Gagey, ladies and gentlemen, is all I got to say.
That's
Justin
your boy,
Gagey. Yo, we'll be right back. Lesson of Manny Z is in the clinch.
We'll be right back.
It's like some niggas pop mollies, smoke weed, and drink liquor to get high. Yeah, I just stay high off life, you know? Check me out. Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. I stay overdose on life. Damn, what the hell I'm thinking? I'm sitting behind that wheel and I can't stop drinking. The Patron in my system, it got me gone as fuck. Damn, I hope I don't hit them. And all I see is purple rain. The girl right next to me, all she do is fucking complain. Are we just me on how I bottle my pain? If you seen the shit I've been through, then you would do the same. But it's all good. Shit, life be keeping me on the high. I do this shit all again as long as I don't die. Let me enjoy every moment to occupy my mind. You can judge who you want, I'm just having a good time. Turn up, like I'm on the come up. I'm fucking up my liver like I ain't even the owner. Ride around my city doing parking lot donuts. Living life like the fuck I wanna. You feel me? Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. I stay overdose on life. Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. I stay overdose on life.
Yo, I just had another dream. I was falling out the sky in the world with a stain. Of things aren't always what they seem, but the patterns keep forming, so I wonder what they mean. We all go through the motions, swaying in the breeze, thoughts rumble like the ocean. Life is narcotics and our feelings are the potion. Catch a hangover if you deep in your emotions. It's a heavy dosage.
We're back. It's your boys for DMVCS in the Clinch. Your boys Lesson and Manny Z, and a place to be. Every Sunday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ListenVisionLive.com on WLVS Radio. We thank you for taking time out of your Sunday evening just to see a little bit about the news in the world of combat sports. As always, make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at DMVCS. Tweet us at DMVCS, #ITC. Your thoughts about UFC 175. We just finished talking about it. But, of course, Manny, it wasn't the only bout or only card on Saturday's slate. There was also a card involving World Series of Fighting. This is WSOS of 11, and they had a card early yesterday before the UFC 175, so it served as a very good appetizer for those of you who wanted to see some mixed martial arts. And if you did, what you saw was a show by Justin Gaethje, the lightweight
your boy. You called it. You called it.
Defeating Nick Newell last night with a punch knockout. Again, another punch knockout, single punch. At 309 into the second round. This fight, I'm surprised it even lasted that long.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I mean, well, look at what Newell's dealing with. He's got some deficiencies, and was just shout out to him, because in order to be able to fight really literally with one arm, I mean, but he's gotten some victories. But Gaethje last night again showing no mercy and putting this guy out. And this kid, I'm impressed by him. I was impressed him in his victory. Over in his last victory, impressed with him again today, and he got the job done, headlining again, still has the strap, and it was also finally John Fitch making his debut in the World Series of Fighting. He defeated Dennis Hallman after this bout changed, 10 to 12 times.
I counted 13.
Yeah, there were so many different participants in this actual fight, and then
I think you were on it.
At one point in time, I think I was. His unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, 30-27. And then, of course, we talked about this, Manny. The debut of one Melvin Gillard, recently released by the UFC, newly signed by World Series of Fighting. He defeated Gaethje Cavalcante at second round, 236, TKO due to strikes. This was a guy that we saw. We talked about it before the show. Look completely different than the guy that we saw in his last few fights in the UFC.
Yes. I like that. That's the Melvin Gillard I recognize. That last guy when he was running around the octagon, like, get away from me. Get away from me. Stop it.
I don't want to fight. But last night he charged Cavalcante he was really mixing it up within there. A guy that I was finally at least glad to see him at least go out and pursue the fight this time around. Because let's face it, this is probably his last shot. And within any type of major or semi-major promotion, if he wants to get back to the UFC, this is his last shot. Yeah. We see what happened with a couple of guys who went into WSOF and came out, namely Rumble. Came back after a stint in WSOF and completely got refocused, and we saw what he did to Phil Davis.
Destroyed Phil Davis in Baltimore, and I became a fan again. Yeah. Shout out to Rumble.
Yeah, but Melvin looked good against Cavalcante. Second round, 236, knocked him out due to strikes, and then had his afterwards saying that, hey, look, I was built here to ruffle feathers. That's what he wants to do. He wants to stir up some trouble. Now, they fought this fight at a catch weight of 157 because neither Gilliard or Cavalcante made their weight for this bout. So it was fought at a catch weight at 157, and Melvin being very impressive over Cavalcante in the second round, knocking him out. Also at a catch weight on WSOF 11 was Cody Bollinger defeating Pablo Alfonso 237 into the first round submission by way of rear naked choke. So that was what happened on before UFC 175 yesterday. And Justin Gaethje with big and Melvin Gillard with big performances at WSOF 11. And it's funny, we could actually see a bout between these two in the future. Should Gaethje keep winning and should Gillard keep winning, we could see these two face off in WSOF.
Once again, it's for the title. You fight the best.
Yeah. So that was there, and of course, I'm impressed by Gaethje. I'll continue to say that. And that was that. So we just wanted to recap WSOF 11. Going to see more WSOF events. We'll cover more of those in the future. But we're going to take yet another break. And when we come back from this break, we're going to wrap the show up. And we're going to talk about some of the other news, including the big news that happened in the promotion that wasn't the UFC, but really shook up a lot of people around the industry, and including a power move being made by that promotion. And the ordinance is saying that business has to change. It's your boy Lesson, Manny Z, in a place to be, DMVCS in the Clinch. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at DMVCS. We'll be right back.
Yeah. It's like some niggas pop mollies, smoke weed, drink liquor to get high. Yeah, I just stay high off life, you know? Check me out. Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. I stay overdose on life. Damn, what the hell I'm thinking? I'm sitting behind that wheel and I can't stop drinking. The Patron in my system, it got me gone as fuck. Damn, I hope I don't hit them. And all I see is purple rain. The girl riding next to me, all she do is fucking complain. Always judging me on how I bottle my pain. If you seen the shit I've been through, then you would do the same. But it's all good. Shit, life be keeping me on the high. I do this shit all again as long as I don't die. Let me enjoy every moment to occupy my mind. You can judge if you want, I'm just having a good time. Turn up, like I'm on the come up. I'm fucking up my liver like I ain't even the owner. Riding around my city doing parking lot donuts. Living life like the fuck I wanna. You feel me? I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. I stay overdose on life. Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. I stay overdose on life.
Yo, I just had another dream. I was falling out the sky and the world went to stain. Of things aren't always what they seem, but the patterns keep forming, so I wonder what they mean. We all go through the motions, swaying in the breeze, thoughts rumble like the ocean. Life is narcotics and our feelings are the potion. Catch a hangover if you deep in your emotions. It's a heavy dosage. Constantly we going overload. One too many, maybe not, while we falling overboard. High as a kite off life, intoxicated off existence, persistence with that dynamite. Rehab's the plans, death that you speak not. Chronic living like I'm Dr. Dre, no detox. Getting drunk off the hating and I'm wasted off the love. That's why I'm sweating off the drama while you wonder what it does.
Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. Stay overdose on life. Yo, I gotta do it big, cause I can't live this life twice. Say what you want, I stay overdose on life. I stay overdose on life. Yo, I gotta do it big. Yo, I gotta do it big. Can't live this life twice. Can't live this life twice. Say
Yo, what up? We are back. We are back with DMVCS and the Clinch.
And the Clinch.
Yo, of course, every Sunday night we are here, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we are stateside, Washington, D.C., and nation's capital. We are worldwide on listenvisionlive.com, on WLVS Radio. Of course, man, we thank you guys for spending last little bit of your Independence Day weekend. And everybody's getting ready to head back to work tomorrow. But we are going to get ready to wrap up this show with this last segment. Now, in case you don't know the story, now we're going to wrap up with a few of the other news items that were newsworthy over the last 2 weeks with us being out. Now, if you didn't follow the whole Chael Sonnen, Wanderlei Silva then entering in Vitor Belfort into the equation, let's give you a quick rundown. All right. Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva were coaches on Tough Brazil 3.
Yes, they were.
They were coaches against and had a team that were working against each other.
Yes, they did.
Wanderlei had a problem with Chael based on some things that he said to Anderson Silva, which Chael apologized to Anderson about. And Anderson, thinking he was stepping up for his native country, instead of making him the hero, made him the bad guy. A lot of comedy over this Tough Brazil, what happened, the fight that broke out, then the scuffle where Chael took Wanderlei out, took him down.
That was hilarious. That was like the best segment of the show.
A lot of the other little cut-ins that you would see that happen between them. And then the fight was originally supposed to happen on May 31st at a Tough Brazil finale, but they decided to move the bout, and the bout was then moved from May 31st. It was supposed to have been on last night's card on UFC 175, which made the card huge because this is like the third built fight on the card, and it would have been great to see these two go against each other. But the Nevada State Athletic Commission popped up at Wanderlei's gym wanting to take this little thing, a sample for a drug test.
And he ran up.
And depending on who you ask, either he was not able to take the test, refused to take the test, or he simply ran out the gym's back door. Now, when that happened, that allowed the UFC to then replace Silva on corrective action and suspend him, and then end to step in to face Chael Sonnen was none other than Vitor Belfort, who was undergoing getting himself in order after the banning of therapeutic use exemptions for testosterone replacement therapy, something that him and both Chael did in the past because they both suffer from conditions that give them low testosterone. Well, Chael does. Vitor's probably just been taking them because he wants to be better.
Vitor's been a Super Saiyan for pretty much half of his career.
So in comes this happening, and then eventually who pops up with the positive drug test?
Chael Patrick Sutton.
Chael has a positive drug test, so then this fight is now completely off of the rigs, and it is taken off of the card at UFC 175. At this point, when we're reporting this news, the last time you saw us live, Chael was just out, and that was all we knew. Well, then Chael Sonnen retired, and he had said that he was no longer going to fight, and he realized there was going to be a challenge of him being able to maintain a healthy testosterone level without using events that would get him suspended or banned. And we thought that was gonna be it.
No,
but it wasn't. Oh, but the plot thickens.
Oh, yes, it does.
And this is how the plot thickens. Chael took another drug test because he was planning to fight in another promotion, and he failed another drug test
again.
And this time, when he failed the drug test, it cost him a lot more than a fight in just his career with the UFC. It cost him what I'm probably thinking was a very good paying job doing UFC Tonight and also doing the previews and the recaps of all UFC events that happen with the promotion. And I thought he was very good on television, but the UFC did release him, releasing a statement saying that they know that they cannot no longer associate themselves with Chael, and now with 2 failed drug tests. And another guy who has been on UFC Tonight and on UFC programming, Brian Stan, just basically saying how he didn't think that, you know, guys like Chael should be able to fight anymore. And he was very vocal about that.
Oh, he was very vocal. I mean, I thought he was having church there for a second.
So Chael, this is now his fighting future is cloudy because obviously the man has a problem. His problem is not going to allow him to fight with the mixed martial arts where he cannot get testosterone replacement therapy.
That is true.
That's the end of it. Meanwhile, Wanderley's still off the grid. We don't know where he is. But have
you seen Wanderlei Silva out there listening?
So can we count how many failed drug tests or administered as a fail that we have here? I've counted 3. And I'm pretty sure that Vitor's levels, while they may have seemed normal, weren't really normal.
No, Vitor was a Super Saiyan.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it is, man. Of course, you know how with Chael now retiring, wanting to fight, and then failing another drug test. Lost a very good job doing TV with UFC, and I thought he was great on TV. I really did.
I really did too.
I thought, like I said, I think he was one of the biggest self promoters I think that UFC, that the MMA has seen in quite some time. But on TV, I thought he was solid. But that sucks. So that's Chael's news, and we'll know. Who knows what will be the next news that we see from him?
The ambiguous ending.
Right. So, in case you didn't know it, and you looked at Bellator, we actually covered Bellator 120, which was the first pay-per-view event that they did. Featuring Rampage Jackson and King Mo Lawal. Everything seemed fine from the surface. Now, we didn't get any hard concrete numbers from the Bellator pay-per-view.
No, not really.
But we're guessing that things didn't go very well.
No.
And the reason why it's happening is because after big pay-per-views, CEOs don't lose their jobs.
Not on the day off.
Not on the day off.
Not on the day off lesson.
And that's exactly what happened to Bellator president and CEO, Bjorn Rebney. He was fired by Bellator last month, and pretty much was abruptly ending his term there, and things didn't work out well. Something happened, and I'm guessing the pay-per-view didn't work out because CEOs don't get fired after you make your pay-per-view debuts. They don't. Not if you did well, you didn't. So
he got cracked.
He got fired on his day off. That's exactly what happened, and the fallout from happening it, and of all people that was hired to run the promotion was the former president and CEO of Strikeforce, Scott Coker. Taking over for Bjorn Rebney as the CEO for Bellator. It's funny. We know what happened after the Rampage fight with Mo Lawal saying that he was a dick rider and, pretty much blamed. They said that Bjorn had politics involved in the fact that he lost and everything else. And, now Bjorn's gone, and then King Mo and Rampage had a little bit of Twitter war over that. And, Mo had some fun with Rampage over that. But also, along with Bjorn Rebney being fired as CEO of Strikeforce, they released 19 fighters from their roster. And here are some of the names that were released from the roster on came out on MMAfighting.com.
Yeah, so how many Bellator fighters got let go?
Eric Prindle and Anthony Leone. Is also Frank Baca, Nick Kirk, Travis Marks, Hiroshi Nakamura, Rodrigo Lima, Sergey Draco, Jared Downing, Jason Fisher, Tim Welch, Nathan Coy, and Anthony Lemming. Trey Houston, Vaughn Anderson, Keith Berry, Jerry Kimball, Carlos Eduardo, and Eric Smith. David Gomez and Adams Park also appear on the original list on Sherdog, but Bellator confirmed that they're still under contract with the promotion. Additionally, Isaac DeJesus has a short-term contract and could fight for Bellator again. According to Bellator officials, all fighters were released before former Strikeforce CEO Scott Coker replaced Bjorn Rebney. So it looks like in the aftermath of all this, Bjorn got let go, but they let go of some fighters too, cutting the fat. And that's exactly what happens when you have a promotion that's up against the giants like Zuva LLC and the UFC. And if things didn't go that well, then somebody lost their job and somebody was going to have to get cut. So this is part of the makeover of Bellator. We'll see what happens as a result of this. But crazy for you to get fired like that after your promotion had their first major pay-per-view.
Yeah, you get Craig.
Yeah. So hopefully Bjorn has some work and finds some work soon. Maybe there's another promotion that'll pick him up that he'll come work for. Who knows? But we're getting close to the end of our time here, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you guys for joining us. And remember to join us every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we want to make sure you guys are following us on all of our social media channels, at DMVCS on Twitter, at DMVCS2 on Instagram, on Facebook, DMVCS Radio. You search us, of course. May does a great job of updating the content each week on all of our social media channels. Also on Google Plus and YouTube. Make sure you add us there so you can view our episodes and get a response or also an email message whenever we send a new and put new content up on our YouTube channel. That's DMVCS, DMV Combat Sis, on Google Plus and YouTube.
And if you have anything you want to email the show or you want us to say on the air, go dmvcs@gmail.com.
Including gems. We want to hear from mixed martial arts gems, martial arts gems. Let us drop your contact info. We'll give you a shout out on the air. But of course, every Sunday this is what we do, but our time is just about up. Next week we'll have more about the world and the combat world of sports, and we will be here to report all of it for you. Of course, it's Lesson. Your boy Manny Z in the place to be next to me. We will be back here Sunday. Make sure you check us out and follow us on Twitter. We'll be back next week. Until then, have a great week, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Nice.
Yeah, it's game time. Suit up. This game, your time. Is it now? Insane. This game for the crown. Is it now? Stakes high, put it down. This game, your time, put it down. Let's go. Welcome to the game. Now here's your starting lineup. Brought to you by E-Dub, official with the sign up. Hella 40 minutes pressure, Arkansas to Pine Bluff. Little Rocks with gangs bang until they fucking time's up. Fire like it's pre-game pyro. Ready off this hype and I'm high off hydro. Once the clock starts, then it's on to the minute. Ballin' like LeBron off the palm till I'm finished in it. Until the last second is spent. And I'ma play the point till you niggas forfeit or quit or offer the split. Critics talking shit like it's heads up and man down. I'm at the 50 with chin strapped to stand ground. Game time on my pulse racing like stock cars. 200 laps and I'm checking flag like a rock star. And give a damn what your thoughts are. W's counting them out, checking the bank like Bart Star. Are you in to win or just another pawn? I'ma keep it breaking hard till the break of dawn. Till the break of dawn. Count slow, stakes high till the break of dawn. Are you in to win or just another pawn? I'ma keep it cranking hard till the break of dawn. Till the break of dawn. Count slow, stakes high till the break of dawn. You hear the clap, get a round of applause. Fools shouting out their name to hear the sound of their calls. You ain't making any calls on the yard. The only cause you had is to press pause and make a call to your squad. I ain't never been at grips with the law. The only grip that I had is my 5 fingers, that's my fist to your jaw. Me and Dale's take a trip from the bricks to the shore. Flip the switch, click the sticks, I get lifted for sure. Only want what we came for. Rolling through PG with Dale for the main course. So we take DC in the loop with the same force. Find us live at the barbecue like we main source. Insane boss, I'm talking riches in the millions. Stack it to the ceiling in the office, right in our own building. Stakes high, what's the call? Mission critical condition. The